Hello, everyone, to wherever you are in the world. Evening here in Brisbane, and I'll make one apologies if there are any sound effects because there's a storm rolling through at the moment, starting to maybe be a bit of cracking and thumping outside the window. So apologies if I get lost in the storm. Look, I wanted to talk to you today about a smart port in the real world. Uh, by way of disclosure, I am on the speakers list as the National Automation Manager for Patrick Terminals. I've actually, in the last week or so, have left Patrick and are now working for Hatch. But I did want to talk to you today about Patrick's experience in automation, which was a journey that started in 1996, in fact. So Hatch very quickly is a multidisciplinary engineering consultancy, management consultancy across the world. We do have an infrastructure group and a smart ports group within that, which I deliver the strategy for. But today I really wanted to talk to you about how, as an operator, with the benefit of hindsight, I would talk about the philosophy and the strategy for us that built our automation. What you can hopefully see on the video is our Sydney Autostrad terminal, a 1 million plus TEU site, pure straddle carrier based terminal that has been operating since 2015 based on a technology that Patrick started developing in 1996. As I said, we started with the prototype. Uh, Probably we were one of the first in the world. We were actually the third automated terminal that started in Brisbane in the world, but we were the first real operator to try and do it ourselves. So Patrick set out on a project on its own to build the systems to get us to where we are today. And as I said, I wanted to break that down into a couple of key ideas about what today has led us to have a system that we believe is still world leading in terms of its productivity, its efficiency, the safety results, and the commercial advantage that it gives us as an operator. So in that video, you saw our fleet of automated straddles servicing what are still today manually driven STS cranes, although they are highly interfaced and tracked. There is a landside exchange with trucks that you cannot see on the outside, and it's normal straddle carrier terminal type of arrangement. Uh, they are perpendicular stacks to the key line. There are reefer areas within the yard, and there are other segregated zones. I didn't mean to play that again. I'll move on. Now, as I said, if we were talking about really where we go and why did we think about developing a smart port in the first place, most people say, well, it was obviously about the money. In hindsight, and the true strategy for us was really built around a process, or the idea of process improvement, how we could use automation to remove the inconsistencies within the yard, the chaos of day-to-day operation as we saw it. And for the operators amongst you, or anyone who can remember the truly manual days, managing a terminal used to be about chasing guys around, getting them into machines after breaks and ensuring that they spent their time behind the wheel to get the job done. And dealing with all of the chaos that came of changes and people not showing up or potholes in the yard every day. We see ourselves now that we've got to a position where we are all about the process. We're far better off being at Groundhog Day, where every day is the same and every process is repeatable time and time again, than having to put effort into managing what we saw as the standard terminal operations every day. So we built a system that did that. It was entirely repeatable, it was scalable, and in fact, when we transitioned our technology from Brisbane to Sydney, the Sydney terminal was only closed for to actual commercial traffic for a total of 4 days. We were able to transition across and adapt our processes and systems very efficiently and train our people, deliver a technology with very little risk that got us to essentially a transplanted technology blueprint between one terminal and another. So now we have two terminals that run exactly the same way all day, every day, even down to when you start looking at KPIs of machines, performance levels, of container moves per hour against distance traveled are exactly the same between the two terminals, even with slight variations of layout and size. So the benefits flow out of that process management. For us, those benefits are things like improved safety, the service delivery to our customers, in that we are able to do what we promise. If we sell a vessel window, we know our capabilities and we repeat that day after day. Opportunities to reduce cost do come as a result of that. We have less chaos, as I said, which means we continually improve our processes. We get better and better at what we do. So we use our assets better, we use our people efficiently, we're able to maintain our equipment better, and other operational costs reduce as well. There is a slide that I will get to later into this presentation that really drives home some of the impacts there. And without talking about specific dollars, the impacts can be enormous. What you saw in the previous video was, as I said, a 1 million plus TEU terminal being operated by automated straddle carriers that has 4 men per crane gang and 1 operator in charge of the entire automated fleet. So all the dispatch, assignment, management of those fleets, the exception handling is able to be controlled by 1 person, because the operational philosophy has been built around giving him a very intuitive human to machine interface that allows the system to be managed. And the automation of the exception handling process as itself. Cameron picked up the idea before that, there's no point having a system that works 99% of the time perfectly, but when your 1% goes wrong, no one can recover from it. You have to build those contingencies into your system. If I wanted to, as I said, talk in hindsight about how we did it, probably a couple of key principles. Connect everything. Oscar picked up on the same idea. The communications technology has to get you to a place where everything within the terminal is connected, be that your gate, be that your external customers, be that your STS cranes, your TOS, the information that flows. It all needs to be integrated with a view to be able to allowing the system to utilize that data to perform the operations. You also need systems to obviously manage that, to collect all that data, to monitor it, to analyze it, and to use it. People need to be able to understand what is going on in intuitive ways. We always like to joke that, in fact, stevedores are fairly simple beasts, and whilst the complexity of the system has to stay under the surface. You can get your vendors and things to build the system with complexity, but what they have to provide you is a system that is simple to operate, because in reality, it will not achieve your commercial goals, or in terms of being able to front up day to day and give you the Groundhog Day that we're talking about, if it is not relatively simple to operate. Complexity builds risk around your people and your ability to deliver business continuity. And the other key tenet, people and equipment. So for us, we built a operational methodology that allowed our people to understand and operate with the systems very well. From the STS drivers, the information that they see from the guys on the land side, to the information they get and how they can control and interact with the machines. And it gives them the ability to execute and act in coordination with the automated system. The technology itself needs to be there as well, whether it be remote control, STS cranes or RTGs, or truly purely autonomous horizontal transport vehicles, as we have within Patrick as straddle carriers at the moment. The equipment has to facilitate the objectives as well. And look, I tried to keep it really simple. There's no rocket science here. Everybody is on this journey in one way or another, be it manual and moving into the digital world where your interfaces with shipping lines are EDIs, the data comes in automatically, to vehicle booking systems on the land side, through to the pursuit of automated vehicles and cranes within your yard. Truly, the optimal place to be in this flow is to move towards the upper right, where you can integrate both those automated systems and all that digital information to truly deliver automated end-to-end process. It is no point being lower right. We have nice automated cranes, but they operate in silos. They don't get their information, or they require constant inputs from people to prompt them through the process. And there's also some loss of advantage being upper left, where you might have great digital systems and everything is connected, but you still require a lot of activity within your manual handling tasks to drive your terminal day to day. One of the big examples I talked about before, and I could go on and on, we have a lot of what we see as success stories. but safety, something that is very close to everybody's heart. It is a moral responsibility in operating your terminal. It is also a key driver in being able to deliver what you promise, your business continuity, and is such a huge impact on terminals in terms of cost and ease of operation as well. What I'm actually showing you on the right is a graph from the Brisbane operation in early 2000, so nearly 20 years ago, where Patrick started this journey. We'd like to show the possibilities of where automation can take you. What the graph shows is Patrick transitioning from a manual terminal operation, a straddle carrier operation with a very similar volume at that time, to the right side of the graph. But as we moved people out of machines, we implemented a functional safety discipline where safety became less about the personal behavior of people and the training burden and the control that was required to make that happen, through to the engineering control approach, where the automated system itself was able to execute the safe outcomes in the event of a safety event occurring. And we saw this immense reduction from a number in excess of 140, the standard measure of lost time industry frequency rate, there to essentially zero. And that pattern has continued for, to date, around 15 years. It was a vast transformation. And that, if I believe, is, nearly motivation enough for everyone to start considering how they move themselves along this automated journey and bring in the, as I said, the processes and the mindset that can get you there in the end. And I truly believe that the terminal operator is the only one that can really drive that safety process, as the people that are in control of the roles and actions of people ultimately on the ground and the way that they interact with machines. You need to take ownership in that space and work with your vendors to deliver those outcomes. And where does that all go? I think everybody else talked about how you bring in the technology that facilitates automation and people, but what really is the strategy behind it, and where to go to next? If I was trying to very simply summarize where Patrick has been and where we want to go to, I would say we sat at the bottom, and we've been sitting at the bottom of that chart for a long time. We've really been looking at how we make our vehicles move around the yard and get them from point to point as efficiently as possible. But as other aspects of automation go, be that on the land side, as automated trucks rise up, as there are multiple forms of horizontal transport within a terminal, and STS cranes and yard cranes as well, how you combine all those things into providing a more and more optimized multiple equipment environment is the next challenge for us. After that, terminal optimization as well. Is driving a machine as fast as possible to deliver as many boxes as possible the best outcome necessarily for the terminal? If I have a ship that contractually needs to be serviced within a certain window, what is the best outcome for me? Do I just operate that vessel as fast as I possibly can, which is a common strategy that we've certainly pursued early and most people do? Or are there advantages in costs and impacts by doing something slightly different? Can I vary my labour costs and my maintenance costs, and in fact operating at a different rate to suit the overall terminal optimization piece? And in the long run, the supply chain optimization, the true vision of an automated supply chain where the vessels and the land side are fully automated and integrated within that supply chain piece, means that our system standing in the middle of that chain needs to bring data and send data back and forth between those other players, and we alter the way that we work or the way that they act with us to optimize outcomes for everybody. So be that a ship steaming slightly slower because we've foreseen weather, or a maintenance requirement within the terminal, that means that we can vary the overall plan and make it all up to our customer, to changing vehicle bookings on the land side and varying schedules based on other impacts. That's where we see ourselves ending up, truly bringing everything together and trying to achieve best outcome for everyone overall. And Hatch is very much along those lines. We've got a manifesto that we very much want to do that for our customers, and around the world, we hope to pursue those goals. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll hand you back to Antoine.